Yo, what's to it? What's going on? Bang, bang, bang. Get money gang. We out here. We in the building. We turning up. Y'all run me up. Y'all run it up right now. Hit that like button. Share this live. It's a good live we finna do. We out here. We out here this morning. We finna kick back. We finna talk about this Hernandez Govan. He want to bump with Charston White. I know they gonna chase clout off everybody. That's all they do is chase clout off whoever name popping. They don't care if he a murderer or snitch or rapist, like the booty bandit. They don't care if he do none of that. They just want to hear his story. They don't care about that shit no more. These bloggers don't have no morals on what they talk about and what they doing no more. They just on here just getting down. They showing all the, you know what I'm saying? But Govan say he a bump with Charleston White. Charleston White trying to set him up. You hear me? But I just want to know, like, what y'all think about, like, they accusing Govan of hiring, clucking some thirsty people to take out paper route, take out a few people from paper route. What y'all think about that? Put it in the comments. What y'all think about Govan allegedly putting some money down on paper route? What y'all think about that? And y'all know I fuck with paper route. You feel me? So y'all stay tuned. I'm trying to get y'all some shit to talk about. Cause Govan, he ain't on nothing. Govan ain't on a crumb, gang. I'm gonna keep it 100. Govan ain't on nothing. Govan got away with murder. It seemed like, for real. Govan got away on niggas. And he finna try to get on off of him beating that case. So he finna be on the internet going against Charleston White, going against all the bloggers and Seti Nash and all them. You know what I'm saying? We finna watch a little bit. We gotta start back from the S.
Just bring up my past, and try to make me look like a villain in front of the jury. So that was my reason for not taking the stand.
Now, you have the right not to take the stand, right? But there is an implication to that. meaning that a jury will generally look at you as being slightly guilty. Because if you don't take the stand, if you're innocent, why not take the stand, right? If you're choosing not to talk, yes, it could work in your favor, but there is a stigma around it that makes you look a little more guilty than you are.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the jury instructions from the judge was, you know, just because I don't take the stand, that they can't hold that against me. So I just relied on that, you know, and if you know the law, you know that if I would have took the stand, they could have brought everything up in my past and made me look like a horrible person in front of the jury. And that was just something that I didn't want to do.
Manny, was there at one point a consideration to have him take the stand?
Absolutely. But, you know, when you delve deep into it, Cornelius is lying about a lot of stuff, and we sort of pointed out some of the objective lies. Govan was just going to reiterate his position. And again, because there are no text messages between these people, there's not going to be anything that says, I do not agree to kill anybody or set up anything. It was just going to be the same thing again in circles. But you also get character assassination because he's got a gun charge from like 20 years ago, and then a bunch of marijuana and other stuff that he's talked about. We sort of mentioned it to the jury that, yeah, he's the local pill dealer and he does some gambling activity. But that's just what you do in Orange Mound when you hustle. You know, if by some miracle you don't break out of there or get some education, that's just your lot in life. And that's where he ended up.
Well, the jury was 5 men, 7 women.
Yes. Well, the interesting thing about Memphis is we start with 16 people. Nobody knows who the alternates are. So you have to talk to everybody and everybody has to pay attention. As soon as the parties rest and closing statements are over, the judge randomly draws 4 people and they're the alternates and sort of off, and then you're left with that. So the dynamics could have been a little different because we were really talking to 16 people. That gets narrowed down to 12.
Okay. So you do the closing arguments. How did you feel after doing the closing arguments?
I felt scared because to me it was so obvious that there's just no way anybody could possibly believe Cornelius. And it was so obvious that the phone records were being manipulated in a certain way. And I think I pointed a lot of that stuff out. But you don't know after nearly a week who's listening or not. Because while the trial officially started on the 18th, it really started 4 days prior because we had multiple days of jury selection. So all that counts. And, you know, I'd seen 1 or 2 of the jurors kind of fall asleep during the trial. So is that good? Is that bad? You know, who knows? You're just speculating. And so there's always that fear, and if you can't stay positive, that doubt starts creeping into your mind. Did I make a mistake? Did something happen?
Hernadez, after you heard everyone's closing arguments, and then the jury started to deliberate, did you feel good? Did you feel scared?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
I was upset because the prosecutor, she stood up in her closing arguments and said some things that were absolutely not true. And I was upset. I mentioned it to Manny, I mentioned it to Robert, Haley, Beth, and Handel, that I didn't agree with what she did, because she got up there and said that after the shooting, they went back to my house and they brought the car back to my house. None of that happened. And so for me, if I'm a juror and I'm hearing this, and, you know, I don't know how much, you know, attention they were paying during the course of the trial. I just know the closing arguments could leave a last impression on a person. And so for her to tell them that they came back to my house and brought the car back to my house, I was deeply upset about it, because this shit never happened. There is no way that I would have let them bring a fucking murder car back to my house. I've been in the streets for a long time, unfortunately. And no one that's been